One of the things that people are very deficient in right now in society is vitamin N, which stands for nature. What people need to do, including people with disabilities, is get outside, get some fresh air, and interact in nature. And this property is going to allow for that in huge magnitudes.
Knowing how long it took us to plan everything and then just seeing the reality of it all complete, it's just like we finally officially have a home.
If you're a wheelchair user like me, knowing that someone has thought about the things that you need is magical.
This new facility, it just looks amazing. I am just totally ecstatic.
Regardless of your age and your ability level, we all have the right to participate because everyone belongs in nature. When you're out in a city, it's a whole different environment than being in nature. It's much more busy, it's much more loud. It puts you in a whole different space emotionally in terms of what you have to cope with. My name is Marnie and I am a teacher, I'm a writer, I'm a nature nut, I'm an adventurer, and I'm also a person with disability. Every day I face barriers and challenges. Maybe there's no accessible parking. Sometimes there's cracks in pavements that you can't navigate. Stairs, multiple sets of stairs. I come across curb cuts that don't have the cuts, so I can't get the wheelchair across. Sometimes pathways have big chunky gravel that get your wheelchair stuck, so you can't navigate through the pathways. Sometimes they don't have automatic doors. I've actually been hit by doors. If you do get into the building, then potentially you may not have a lot of maneuverability room to get to where you need to go. And it's super frustrating because I want to participate, I want to be involved, I want to do things that everybody else does, but I don't have the same ability to just do what they do. Access means complete access, functional access to the buildings and to the natural environment. It doesn't just mean a ramp, it doesn't just mean an open door. One of the things that people are very deficient in right now in society is vitamin N, which stands for nature. Having that health benefit, the mental, the physical, the spiritual health benefits of being out in nature as we are today is way better for your soul, definitely for your body, than being stuck at home, isolated, and all you see is the doors of your medical appointments.
Marnie and her dad often like to get their vitamin N by exploring local parks. Today, they're out basking in the spring weather.
We're heading on this pathway and enjoying the blue sky and the sunshine and all these trees. Dad, do you know what kind of trees they are? Those fir trees or big, tall fir trees. When you get out in a place in nature, it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's a whole different viewscape. It allows you to kind of recharge, to refocus, to relax. We're coming up to, looks like a bridge, a wood plank bridge. Oh, there's purple flowers, and what are the little blue ones? Are those forget-me-nots?
Similar.
Similar, yeah. For me personally, it distracts me from my pain level. It gives me kind of a time out so I can reset and focus on something else that isn't my pain level or potentially the things I have to face, the average stressors in the daily life. Being in nature takes me away from that at least for a little while.
With being in nature, you get to spend time, you get to have the quietness, your brain can breathe, and you just get to enjoy living in the moment, and I think that's one of my favorite things. My name's Adam Irwin Gunn, and I am an individual with autism epilepsy. One of my favorite things to do is having that moment of a break from just city life, you could say. Process like the calmness around you, process what you visualize, process what you feel. You get to focus on those sensories a lot more versus if you're into the city life, your body's so stressed that those processing skills almost get forgotten. I like watching trees, the motion of trees, the motion of grass. You really get to pick out color like these lavenders. And I feel like everything's just so vibrant when you pay attention. I love being out in the sun, hot heat. It's like you're hearing the silence of it all. I feel like I'm not stressed because I'm living in the moment, and I feel like that's one of the best things for me, is to be out here.
Getting to nature isn't always accessible, though, and one organization on Vancouver Island helps to break down those barriers. Both Marnie and Adam are part of Power to Be, a non-profit which runs nature programs for youth, families, and adults living with cognitive, physical, financial, and social barriers. Power to Be was founded 25 years ago by Tim Cormode.
I guess the vision originally was just get people outside, help people that are really living with barriers to, see what's possible in their lives. That was just the vision of the idea of a program.
As ideas and vision grew, Tim found mentorship in philanthropist and accessibility advocate Rick Hansen. Their shared vision brought them together, as it has today on a fishing boat on the Fraser River.
Nature is healing. Nature is educating. Nature is inspiring, and nature is enabling. And if we have a chance to be part of nature, we're whole. My earliest memories are out hiking and fishing and camping, and then when I had my accident, wow, it was like this huge barrier. Over the last 35 years, that area has been a bit of a blind spot for society. The big gap for me in accessibility is in the natural world.
For far too long and far too often, I go to places that are minimally accessible. I've had times where I've gone places where I can only minimally participate, or I've actually phoned and found out I couldn't participate at all.
Everyday life, we know for a fact, is not that accessible. Like a little trail that says it's accessible, but then all of a sudden, boom, you have like 20 stairs to continue the trail. And it's like, you can't really label that as accessibility because there's stairs, so a wheelchair user, mobility user can't use those stairs. So as an individual with autism, I feel like sometimes the quote-unquote outside world, we'll say, really judges because either they're not used to or don't have that education. It's like, well, why would that person stim, or why does that person's like this? And for Power to Be, it allows you to be you. And for me, that is an accessibility because you get to be who you are. You get to be someplace where you feel comfortable and just supported. It's my family.
Belonging is at the core of Power to Be. Since its inception, the organization has run programs that visit nature in places like Picoles, a scenic seaside park on Vancouver Island.
Well, everybody, it is wonderful to see you all out here today on this beautiful day with the smell of the ocean, the smell of the forest, in a place that is very, very special.
Program facilitators Paul Blood and Karina Kenigsberg often lead these activities.
I'm Karina Kenigsberg, Director of Programs and Impact with Power to Be. Started as a volunteer around 2005, so since 2006, so going on almost 15 years.
All right, should we stroll down? Let's go.
No, it's a beach / great place to find caves.
Absolutely.
Power to Be's been built on this mobile reach where we just brought gear and equipment and we went to places, and there's a lot of beauty in that nimbleness to be mobile, but to have a place that is our own, that we've learned what's worked, what hasn't worked, what are future needs, and trying to create a space that evolves as the community's needs evolved, and then even into our future, being able to change things and modify based on that is really exciting, and it's something we've needed for a really, really long time.
For the last few years, Power to Be has really been thinking about a home and what it needs to really sort of take its programs to the next level. So the idea was we wanted to build center. A family came to us with a golf course and said, would you like this piece of property? And we arranged a really favorable lease to support the organization in the long term, thanks to their generosity, and started thinking about what this could look like.
Everyone Belongs in Nature will return after the break. Welcome back to Everyone Belongs in Nature. The new Power to Be site is located on Prospect Lake on Vancouver Island. The site, a former golf course owned by the Steele family and generously leased to the organization, will be repurposed and rewilded for accessibility.
We've owned this land for about 50 years, and this is a wonderful use for this land. My name is Cedric Steele. I am the land owner of the site, and I'm happy to have arranged a 30-year land lease for Power to Be. As Power to Be started on the site, they built some trails through the forest, then some docks on the lake, and then the plans were drawn for these lovely new buildings.
Participant Marnie Essery has been part of the redevelopment planning from the very beginning.
When I first came out here, they had just got the property donated by the family, which was absolutely fantastic. I met with Karina, and we actually did a brainstorming session overlooking the lake of some of the things that I thought might be part of the build. I have to admit, the first time I did that, I was mesmerized by the lake, and I kind of just sat there having my Zen moment, visualizing and brainstorming what this place could become. And one of the things that was really important to me was that it was inclusive and accommodating to everyone of all ages and all ability levels.
In order to realize an accessible vision for the site, the Power to Be team needed an experienced architect to lead the build.
My name is Christine Lintoff. I'm an architect, and I'm also a biomimicry professional. This is what I get up every day to be involved in. There's something really beautiful about getting up in the morning and standing in front of the mirror and looking at the person who's standing there and knowing that you're making a difference today.
Led by Christine, the team began a lengthy planning and consultation phase. In the winter of 2019, a creative feedback session took place on the snowy grounds of the site.
We're here today on the amazing Power to Be site, and we're gathering with a group of incredible people who are friendly advisors for the organization.
The group makes good use of the covered fire pit on the site to hold a fireside discussion facilitated by Christine.
Isn't this great? It's something to be mindful of, that the space itself can either support or work against the kinds of things that you want to do. I see real, deep, meaningful impact. It's a demonstration project for the world to see how it's possible to have an infrastructure that's married to and tied deeply with the natural world and is at service to the work that this organization is doing. It's scary hard. I'm interested in looking at the natural world as model, mentor, and measure. How does hearing work in those spaces? How does my visual experience get supported or not? I have to guide them and create an infrastructure that actually supports their ability to move into that environment in a seamless way. And it'll be imperfect. We won't get it exactly right. But when you have that lens of inclusivity, it really asks you to tease out much more from your design solutions than the simple business as usual. That's not good enough. We need to do so much more.
The team drew from the framework developed by philanthropist and accessibility advocate Rick Hansen and his foundation. Rick reflects on the process.
We realized it was really reactive coming out of the construction industry. Buildings were being designed, and then barriers actually were in place, and then we all had to struggle to try to remove those barriers. Our foundation said, look, let's focus on the built environment. Let's actually create a world-class curriculum based on the principles of universal and inclusive design, so you have the best benefit for the most people, and a building is built to work for people. And then when a building was designed, it would be universally accessible. When a building was constructed, it would be universally accessible. We really start to shift the mentality from it being a human right, which it is, to an economic and cultural imperative, which it has to be.
I'm Raul Ray. I've been involved with Power to Be for 5 or 6 years. Currently, I'm chair of the board. I've been a wheelchair user for about 6 years. I've known about multiple sclerosis for about 16 years. There's Rick Hansen Accessibility Design Rating System, and I took that course as well as some other people, and we learned some things about wayfinding, lips on doors and bathrooms and kitchen heights. It's subtle, but knowing that someone has thought about the things that you need is magical.
Participant Adam Irwin Gunn was excited to lend his perspective.
I got invited to be able to help with planning and organizing and just putting my own thoughts and ideas into, like, this is how we vision what our new facility is going to look like, and just having all these different points of views, because in reality it's like you need everybody's point of view. You can't just be like, I'm the only one who's going to create it, done. Like it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't make it accessible. We had participants part of it for developing, we had other staff, we had just a whole bunch of people. It felt good to be part of something, and I love architecture stuff, so I was excited to do this.
The buildings itself having the function and the feature in terms of being able to maneuver with someone who uses a white cane, someone with crutches, someone who's amputee, someone in a wheelchair, being able to have automatic doors and multiple bathrooms. The functionality of the site is key.
Even during the planning phase, the grounds were still used for Power to Be programs, allowing groups of hikers to explore the forests and trails. Karina Kenigsberg, who often leads these programs, found the site had everything Power to Be needed.
It feels like it's the missing piece. It feels like it's the part where you can take someone's experience and actually enhance that to a level that we never really understood until we had this place. But when you're teaching somebody who has an illness or comes from a troubled background, and access to them looks really differently than somebody who was an avid hiker and explorer who now has an acquired brain injury. We've been nimble, we've been responsive, we've been adaptable, but when our participants hear that we have committed to making a space, they feel that we're committing to our community. It'll be really warming when we can open the space and people can see that their ideas have actually transferred into, what we have here as a part of our future.
Ideas like using Prospect Lake for canoeing and water activities.
We're gonna head down this way now to our opening circle.
Do you want to share your name and then one thing you're looking for?
I'm Carolyn, and I hope we can see some fish, either jumping or looking down into the lake and seeing them swimming around.
When we were dreaming about a home, we'd always dreamed it would have like a waterfront area as well as accessible trails. And, we have that ability to offer both, to have this accessible dock, to be able to go out and paddle, in the canoes or kayaks or paddle boards.
You see all the stuff over there? Yeah.
My name is Carolyn MacDonald. At Power to Be, I am the head of Victoria Programs. I've been with Power to Be for over 7 years. This is a place for everyone.
Yoo-hoo! We're going! Step if you can, right into the boat. Oh, perfect. Baby knows what's up.
So Santiago, you want to sit on the edge of the dock, and then you can slide your feet into the boat.
Yes! Woohoo!
What we're going to do is we're not going to paddle quite yet. We're just going to get clear of the dock.
I'm Ryan Lesage, and I've been a participant of Power to Be for many years now. Well, I use Power to Be here often. Coming to this property as like a mental reset for myself. It's like clearing the hard drive of all the things that I have going on in life downtown in the city, and then I come out here and just chill and relax and sit by the water, and it's a nice break from the world.
After a lengthy planning stage, Power to Be finally broke ground on the new site in August 2020. Builders, contractors, staff members, and friends of Power to Be gathered in excitement as co-CEO Jason Cole uses a shovel to officially break ground.
And it's been a long time coming to be at this point where, that spark and that vision really created by our participants and our staff and volunteers and our whole community, to be here in this moment to have this opportunity to create a home for Power to Be after being such a nomadic organization is truly huge. Full-hearted thank you to everyone involved to make this happen, because it's been amazing. So yes, here we go.
Nice.
Everyone Belongs in Nature will return after the break. Welcome back to Everyone Belongs in Nature. After several months of construction, the new universally accessible facility is well underway. The previously empty fairways have been dug out in preparation for a foundation. The beginnings of walls have been constructed. Soon this will be a welcoming space for everyone, providing integrated access to the natural beauty of the land, lake and forest. Staff members like Danica Huliston are eagerly awaiting completion. Today, she's here to tour the busy site.
It's super satisfying. I've been on the project since the very beginning. Since the ideation stage when we brought on the architects, we went through lots of iterations and lots of decision making. So to actually see some progress on site and happen quickly is just so satisfying after such a long time.
Participants like Marnie Essery watch the progress, looking forward to seeing their vision realized.
It gives me just immense hope for what could be coming in the future and what Power to Be Adventure Therapy Society will be able to offer for all ages and all ability levels, and what a gift that is to be able to see that actually starting, this process happening, and know that it's coming in the near future.
Brian Monahan, Director of Facilities and Assets, has been leading the construction build. We catch up with him as he leads a group of staff and volunteers through the unfinished building, showing them the space they'll get to use soon.
So what we've ended up with now is the two buildings create almost a gateway right through the middle of them. It's kind of been coined the gateway to nature. So when we drive up, we can actually see between the two buildings, which is really cool. We've also commissioned 3 totem poles. One of the proposed location is right here. So that way when we're driving up, they're actually framed right in the gateway of nature, which is kind of cool. So we'll go in. We are entering into a construction site, so the first thing I want to make sure is everybody's safe. The building itself has very large windows, so these are openings, and they're actually placed purposefully down corridors and stuff to light up the corridors. With this building, we are shooting for 105% energy through our solar. The intent here too is to try to make the whole place as inclusive as possible. All doorways in this building are oversized to 34 to 36 inch. I think there actually might be all 36 inch.
Power to Be participant Adam Irwin Gunn reflects on the construction process and the result of the collaborative input into the build.
Just getting to see the transformation from what we first got the property as and how it's now, it just feels so great to be part of something that we get to help build, and then to see this is what we've created, a home for us all.
Everyone is working together to make a contribution that will transform both the site and the people using it, allowing more freedom to access and explore the outdoors. This will make a significant difference in people's lives that couldn't have happened before. Through the seasons and weather changing, the construction continues. From bare wooden frames, the crews work tirelessly to insulate, roof, and finish the siding of the building. Taking the interior from drywall to the last coat of paint, the building is nearing completion. In the frosty winter air, construction continues. Throughout the build, architect Christine Lintott has stayed focused on the participants' needs.
It's never about the building. For me, it's all about the humans. I know that if I get this right, and if we're able to optimize inclusivity, not maximize, optimize, nature optimizes, that we're going to impact people. Our ability to connect humans, whatever age they are, to the natural world is profoundly important.
Connection to the natural world has always been integral to First Nations culture. Totems symbolize this connection. For Power to Be, it was important that this relationship was honored by representing the 3 First Nations families on Vancouver Island, Kwakwaka'wakw in the north, Nuu-chulnjuth in the west, and Coast Salish in the south and east, where the facility sits. At the Island Timber Carving School on the Malahat First Nation, Moy Sutherland Jr. and his 2 apprentices, Dawson and Guy, are hard at work carving the Nuu-chulnjuth totem pole for the new site.
My name is Hishmeek. I'm Moy Sutherland Jr. from Ahousaht and Tlaoquet and Nucleus, France and Norway. We're carving this totem pole for the Power to Be organization. They wanted 3 totem poles, so one from each of the nations on the island. And this is the Nuchanoth one. Up here we have the wolf figure with his knees and feet and bum. There's the human face on the chest, so the wolf transforming into a human. Transformation is a huge concept in Nuchanoth culture, where everything had the ability to transform into different creatures, basically. And the Nuchanoth believe that wolves can transform into killer whales, and killer whales can transform into wolves. And that's what Power to Be does. They help transform people's lives and relationships with nature and relationships with each other. It felt like a really good theme for this piece. Dawson here has been working with me for, man, you were 15 when you started with me, weren't you? You like just turned 16 yeah.
Dawson Maddle-P. Peel, Moy's carving apprentice, has a personal connection to Power to Be.
I joined Power to Be when I was in grade 7. We pretty much started going in on adventures as soon as we joined the program. There's tremendous amounts of power a tree like this can bring. Joining Power to Be, it kind of set me to that right path. Hands down, it was some of the best times I've had in my life. I got to just went on trips. We got to do all sorts of wicked things, like we went snowshoeing. Oh, the experience was tremendous. You know, Power to Be's influences have left a great impact.
In Chemainus, master carver John Marston is working on the Coast Salish totem pole.
My name is John Marston. My traditional name is Kwapaluk. I'm from the Chemainus First Nations. I have the log here all prepped, ready to go. It's been in the making for over a year. This has been a pretty exciting project. I think I first initially drew the concept probably 10 years ago. You know, there's the sun at the top. The idea coming from when we start each day, we give thanks to the Creator for the day that we've been given. The story of the artwork in the beginning, how it becomes to be, is part of it. So, you know, that is going to be part of the story of this artwork. You know, that Power to Be has finally found like a place within the community to put their roots down and to build their home. It's very fitting that we are able to be able to reference the stories of our house posts within that traditional territory.
The third totem pole representing the Kwakwaka'wakw people is being carved by master carver Stephen Bruce, whose traditional name is Lala Kusto in Alert Bay.
I'm Stephen Bruce and I'm from the Numgis territory. I was born and raised here in Alert Bay. What I'm doing here, this represents the Kwakwaka'wakw. We have the orca on the bottom here, a raven for the dorsal fin, and I put a little face in the blowhole. That was a lot of fun. And up on top we have the thunderbird, one of our mythical creatures. And on the thunderbird's chest we have a sea monster face. So we've incorporated a few different characters to make it as the best we can to represent our people, you know.
Randy Bell of the Numgis First Nation, whose traditional name is Quinqualas, helped the Power to Be team organize a poll from each of the 3 main First Nations families on Vancouver Island. Reflects on the uniqueness of the arrangement.
Having 3 nations represented, it made education sense, where things are with First Nations right now. Collaborating and working together is what we need to do.
Unveiled through ceremony, the totems mark the completion of the build.
To have 3 poles go up in the same time, it doesn't happen every day amongst our tribes, but it could set a real good precedent of how we can collaborate and work together on a lot of other things.
With the totem poles unveiled and the build complete, Marnie arrives to tour the facility.
We're just coming down Prospect Lake Road and we're about to turn into the parking lot. I'm really excited to see the new renovated property. It's changed a lot. Wow, look at how beautiful the building is, made of wood, and all these trees, the Gary oaks, the maples, just pulling in now. And I can't believe how big their parking lot is. It's gonna be so much easier to maneuver getting out of the car and transfer. It's so nice to be away from the city and in nature.
Everyone Belongs in Nature will return after the break. Welcome back to Everyone Belongs in Nature. Throughout the construction of the new Power to Be facility, participants like Marnie Esri gave their input on how to make the design accessible. Now, Marnie is finally on site for a tour, accompanied by her dad.
Oh man, it's nice to be out here in the fresh air. I can hear the birds chirping and see the blue sky, and I can see totem poles actually in the distance, and these fantastic buildings on my left and on my right that look like natural wood with solar panels on the top. I just can't believe how nice this pathway is. I don't know how many places we've been to, Dad, where you have the chunky gravel that you can barely get through with the wheelchair. There is a push to open button on my left-hand side.
Biggest one I've ever seen.
It works. We've been to some places where they have an automatic door, but it doesn't work at all. Or there's no automatic door and you can barely hold the door open. Holy cow, look at the space in here. And look at how long it is, so you can actually put so many people sitting in wheelchairs on the side. And there's a counter here. I bet you I could tuck my wheelchair right into it. I'm part of the Accessibility Professionals Network with Rick Hansen Foundation, and one of the things that really is striking to me here is how they've thought about the principles of design. They have lower light switches, they have big, huge, massive amounts of space for maneuvering where there's no hazards. They've got levers on doors, wide, big open doorways that there's not a problem for me to try to navigate to get in. I've never seen this many accessible washrooms in a building before. These accessible doors have huge signs that are very hard to miss. Even the countertop on my right here is lowered down so that people with disabilities can reach it. I can just see out these great big large windows. Right now I'm just looking at the beautiful blue sunshine. Let's go check out the kitchen. I'm taking it all in here. I've never been in a kitchen that's been this big. There's a countertop and a cooktop here right in front of me. I can tuck in. There's so many things in this building that are meant and designed for people with disabilities to be included and to be able to get in here and participate.
Power to Be offers participants equipment for all the activities offered in their programs.
This must be their equipment room. Oh, the Trail Rider, my favorite.
A favorite is the Trail Rider, a rugged wheelchair that's powered by 2 or more people to allow people with physical disabilities access to hikes and outdoor excursions.
I can remember when they used to have to put their kayaks on a truck and take them to all the places. Have you had any problems maneuvering me in this space? Absolutely none. When you're coming to a place, any place, one of the big challenges is that you don't really know what the access is going to be when you get there. And I've been to so many places where literally I've been told, we're gonna have to find someone to let you in the back door. It's really embarrassing. I don't really feel welcome. I feel like a second-class citizen. So to be in a space and a place like this that has all of these principles integrated in the design from the beginning so that everyone is accommodated, everyone belongs, and everyone can participate is really, really something I'm very grateful for. I'm ready to go out in nature. Let's go.
As Marnie's tour wraps up, guests begin to arrive for the first public event at the new site. Program practice lead Sylvia Story is ready to finally welcome guests to Power to Be's new home.
My name is Sylvia. We are here tonight to celebrate. All of you are part of this. All of you have played a part in some way, shape, or form in how we've arrived at this day. So, Heichka to you all. Thank you to you all.
In an art room on site, participant and volunteer Adam Irwin Gunn is leading a painting activity.
Pretty yellow. Do you want to do blue? Yeah. You can paint this thing blue right here. Yeah. and give you a different paintbrush. Let's see.
It's really exciting, especially with all the planning we've been doing and knowing how long it took us to plan everything and then just seeing the reality of it all complete. It's just like we finally officially have a home.
My name is Em McFarland, and I'm the program lead. It feels incredible. I mean, I've been here for 6 years, and to have seen it go from an idea to a conversation to a blueprint to a few different blueprints now, this like actual physical space that I get to stand in and work in is an absolutely incredible feeling. I really don't think I have the words. For the building to be as accessible as it is, to all be one level, to have really navigable floors, you know if you're on a carpet that it's a workspace, and if you're on concrete, that's a place to have fun and be silly and goofy. Just knowing that it's easy to navigate, it's easy to know where you are, there's space for everybody, both literally and figuratively. The fact that it is so accessible both for our participants and our staff with different abilities is a real big game changer.
One participant, Amber Rainshadow, reflects on how far accessibility has come.
Okay, so I'm 58, and so if you can imagine, I come from Alberta, and even in Alberta, before adaptive equipment came into being, there was a lot of makeshift things, right? And it was because people wanted to ski, people wanted to do things. I was 17, a regular wheelchair in a hospital. They stick a set of skis on you and you go skiing down the mountain. We don't do that anymore. You can actually get on a set of skis and ski down the mountain. Being in nature is important just for us as it is for anybody else. And this is where adaptive sport comes through, and Power to Be has given, well, they've given me the world. I've skied, I've body surfed, and my dog is gonna talk. But, I mean, and that's what Power to Be is about.
I'm Charlie McMartin, and I've been a participant with Power to Be for 8 years. I have absolutely loved every minute of coming to Power to Be. I enjoy all the programs, the hiking, the kayaking. Some of the adaptive gear that I use is the Trail Rider. I use the Trail Rider to go on hikes. I mean, this new facility, just touring around it today, it just looks amazing. I am just totally ecstatic. I just think that it must have taken a lot of work and engineering to get this building the way it is. For people in power chairs and manual chairs, there's a lot of space for people to move around. I think it's fantastic.
Paulo Del Grande knows his daughter Vanessa will enjoy the site.
She has cerebral palsy. She loves to be outside. She loves to socialize with people. So she likes to move. She likes to do things.
It's gonna be so nice to go for a hike, Vanessa.
There you go. There we go. Have fun. It's a lovely place. It's a beautiful place. I hope that people with disabilities, young and old, can enjoy this because it's lovely.
The site allows participants and their families to enjoy nature together. Chair of the board, Raul Ray, looks forward to using the new facility with his family.
My own personal experience is I had to make a bit of a course change 15 years ago after a diagnosis of MS. And my children are 10, 8, and 6. They're able-bodied. They could go to any park and go and climb any wall.
Reel it in. Whoa, that's a big fish.
The thought that's gone into this building has been remarkable. What I'm most excited about is for us to do a family experience, outdoor adventure, and for Dad to be included in that. So Dad to be in the kayak, Dad to be on the paddle board, Dad to be involved in the excitement of the adventure that they're doing. This place makes that possible.
Philanthropist and disability advocate Rick Hansen knows the difference a building like this can make.
I'm super appreciative of the work that you guys have done. You know, this is the hub, the showcase of what Power to Be is. It had to be, you know, a gold standard of accessibility and inclusion. And when there's 22% of the population and growing exponentially that has a disability, it's absolutely vital that we create technical solutions and human solutions so that people can actually go everywhere. We need to make sure people understand that everybody benefits from it.
Accessibility has come a long way. For architect Christine Lintock, Power to Be's new home is proof of that.
When we were doing the engagement process, one of the biggest things that participants told us, they didn't have a place and they didn't have that sense of welcoming. They felt overwhelmed when you come to this place. There's a strong deinstitutionalization. You've come to some place that is actually an extension of the natural world. It's awesome. It's just, it works. It actually really works. And I should know that. We designed it, but you're always quietly surprised by how it really does come together, and then it starts to breathe its own life.
It was really touching for me. Like, I almost ended up with tears, to be honest, because I felt proud of what we've accomplished, not as a single, but as a whole community. So seeing how many people came together and then to be like, wow, we actually did this. At first, it felt like just overwhelming, but then once you get through that overwhelming point, then you're just like, oh my gosh, like you just get this feeling that you can't really explain because it's just amazing. When Tim gave the speech for opening our new center here, it was really touching just seeing how much it really impacted him, because I know for a fact he's been working for this for so long.
Tim Cormo, the founder of Power to Be, has always stayed true to the original goal of the organization.
It's about belonging, and I think this is a place, and we're a place and an organization where people feel part of something, whether you're a participant, a volunteer, you feel you make a contribution to something and you feel normal and you feel good. It's time for some new energy, and I'm super excited for the team head. So without further ado, I'm gonna get out of this uncomfortable situation that I'm in. And I'm gonna pass it over.
Before you go.
Oh, don't do this to me. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As people who use it, have been here, and people who come through a ministry who didn't have the opportunity to do it, thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it, man.
One of my friends, just seeing how much it meant to her, it was really great. It makes me emotional too, honestly, because you get to see how much it means to others, how much it impacts their life. The emotions show the reality of what this place means to us. There's no words for it, honestly.
To be able to come to a place like this, be included and be integrated is awesome. I feel at peace, and I feel a part of something bigger.
New co-CEO Dana Hutchings understands that even after 25 years as an organization, with Power to Be's new home, the adventure is just beginning.
We're just getting started, and that's the exciting part. And we are ready to get more people, more participants, and more of us out into nature because, Adam,
Everyone belongs in nature!
Thank you, everyone.
Nature is such an important part of human species, and I feel like with today's society, a lot of that's being forgotten in some way, and people often won't think or realize even that individuals with different abilities, it's like, oh, well, they don't need to be out in nature because they just can't. It's like, well, actually, give us a chance and we will show you.
Director Cody Graham, producer Mike Waverican, writers Cody Graham, Sonia Chwill, Marnie Essery, director of photography Adam Blakesley, editor Sonia Chwill, composer Merge, integrated described video consultant M. Williams, supervising producer Michelle Dudas, content development specialist Sylvie Fiquette. Produced by M1 Films Inc., an AMI original production. Copyright 2023.